Hey, welcome back to another Netcast. I'm Rich Lopez, Quantrix Authority. Sincerely appreciate you joining me today for another podcast. Before we get into it, though, I want to make sure that you're aware that I have put together some Quantrix Modeler introductory training that is going to be available for sale here within the next few days. It will contain over 5.5 hours worth of instructional video with step-by-step instructions on how to complete over 25 different tasks or exercises within Quantrix Modeler, and it will really give you the foundation from start to finish of how to build a good-looking Quantrix model and really demonstrates the functionality and capabilities of Quantrix Modeler. So I hope you'll be checking back here for some additional information on where you can find this training. I do believe it is worth the price of admission for you to invest in learning Quantrix and becoming a Quantrix master. And ultimately, that is my goal with this training as well. So I'll be giving you some information on that here shortly. But on to today's podcast. Episode number 163, select a multiple item key list and lookup value using internal concatenate. Now that is a mouthful. I learned what internal concatenate is by going to Seminar by the Sea in Portland, Maine this last October. Was able to learn from Quantrix masters there, one in particular, Ben W. He showed us what internal concatenate is, and I want to pass along to you some of that knowledge that I gained there at Seminar by the Sea. And internal concatenate in a select statement is really some powerful stuff. So here we go, get ready. I have here a date, and it's actually today's date, but I want to know when this date started. Now I realize that I could probably do this with a very basic function, okay? But I want to show you the power of internal concatenate, and I think this is a very simple example to really demonstrate its capabilities. So with this date, I know what month it is, and I know what year it is. I also know what fiscal week it's in, okay? And that's important to me as I perform my lookup. So I have over here, I have a date dimensions matrix, and it has a list of these days. But as you can see, as I go through the pattern here, as I scroll through it, you can see that the pattern is that it's every 7th day. It's actually the first day of every fiscal week, okay? And with it, I have the fiscal week in the month that this day begins. So 1/24/2016 is the 4th fiscal week start date. I have also the fiscal month that this date falls into, as well as the fiscal year. And what I want to do is I want to now look up and return this date based off of this date here. But in order for that to work, I need to look at month and match it to my month here. I need to find year, and I need to match it to my year here. And then I need to find my fiscal week and match it to my fiscal week here. So how would I do that? I think I probably could create some sort of concatenated key, some sort of maybe helper cell or helper column in both this matrix as well as in this matrix. Okay, and I think if you look back to one of my episodes at the very beginning, I think it's episode maybe 2 or 3. I think it's less than 5 anyway. I show you how to use a helper cell. Well, instead of maybe using a helper or reference column or item, what I would go ahead and do is I would use the internal concatenate functionality of Quantrix. So how it works is I go week start equals select. What do I want to select? Well, I want to select this financial date right here. What is my key list? Well, my key list is really these 3 columns. So I'm going to say internal concatenate. What do I want to internal concatenate? I want to internal concatenate my financial week in my month, my financial month, and I'm separating these by a comma, and my financial year. Okay? And what is my lookup value that I want to look up? Well, I want to look up this month, this year, and this fiscal week. So again, I will say internal concatenate this month, this year. You just need to make sure you have it in correct order, and let's see what I did before. I did financial week. So let me make sure I do that. I do fiscal week, then I did the month, and then I closed it with the year. And then I'm going to hit my double prin to close both this last internal concatenate as well as the select here. And once I hit enter, I should see that 1/8 indeed is the start of the fiscal period when I have an input date of 1/10/2017. If I were to go down here and I were to select, say, a different day, well, let's make sure we stay in the same year, but let's go March 27th, I'm going to expect 326 to come back over here. And that indeed is exactly what happens because, again, I'm matching up 5/3 and 2017, 5/3, 2017. So if I were to look at this with my dependency inspector, and to really see what is going on here with this weak start with this internal concatenate, maybe I'll bring it down here because I got plenty of real estate in theory, right? And if I am to hover on this, you can see what internal concatenate is doing is it is simply adding these colons. And let me try to zoom in on that. So as I zoom in on this, what you can see is this internal concatenate is I've got comma separations going on right here. But what internal concatenate does is it adds a colon instead of a comma, and it just creates this kind of lookup key, this lookup value or this key, right? It mashes all three of those columns, and it does the same over here with internal concatenate. Again, I zoom in on that. You can see how it's adding the colons in there. So that's how you would do a multiple, I guess, multiple item lookup in a select statement. So very powerful stuff there. I apologize, this has ran a little long, but hope you don't mind because that is excellent material right there on select and internal concatenate in Quantrix Modeler. If you have any questions about Quantrix, I hope that you'll reach out to me at quantrixauthority@gmail.com. I absolutely love Quantrix. It is awesome, and I want to make you a Quantrix master, so please join me again for another episode of Quantrix Authority with Rich Lopez.